there are people who walk into your life quietly, without announcement, without drama, yet the moment they arrive, something inside you whispers, I know you, not from this year, not from this chapter, but from many lifetimes before now. This person has seen you, see you in versions you barely remember yourself. They've known you when you were strong and when you were breaking. They've witnessed your becoming again and again. And no matter how many times life tried to separate you, here you are still circling back to one another. That is not coincidence. That is continuity. Some connections don't fade because they are woven into your spirit. You may drift apart, grow silent, even hurt each other. But the thread never breaks. It stretches, it tightens, it tests you, but it holds. Because both of you are carrying unfinished conversations, unlearned lessons, and unhealed places that only this connection can touch. And let me tell you something powerful. Not every soul connection is meant to be comfortable. Some are meant to wake you up. Some are meant to challenge the stories you tell yourself. Some are meant to mirror back the parts of you that need love, forgiveness, and courage. This person has returned to your life not because you failed to let go, but because life isn't done teaching you through each other. There is wisdom in repetition. There is grace in revisiting the same soul with new awareness. You may wonder why, after all the growth, all the distance, all the time, the bond still exists. It's because certain connections are not about possession, they're about evolution. You are not holding on out of fear. You are holding on because something sacred is still unfolding. And here's the truth many people never say out loud: letting go is not always strength. Sometimes staying consciously, intentionally, with boundaries and love is the bravest act of all. When two people refuse to disappear from each other's lives, it's because the universe is still working through them. There is still healing to be shared, still purpose to be revealed, still love in whatever form it takes to be understood. So honor this connection, not with attachment, but with awareness. Not with control, but with gratitude. Recognize that you are walking alongside someone who has known your soul across time. And until the lesson is complete, until the story feels whole, neither of you are letting go, because you were never meant to. There are relationships that don't begin with introductions, they begin with recognition, the kind that settles into your chest before your mind can explain it. From the very first moment, there is a strange familiarity, a sense of knowing that goes beyond logic, or time. You don't feel like you are meeting this person, you feel like you are remembering them. That is because some connections are not born in the present moment. They are carried forward from experiences that shaped your soul long before this lifetime began. These connections feel different because they are different. They don't rush, yet they are intense. They don't always make sense, yet they feel true. You may not know where this person fits in your life at first, but you know they belong there. Their presence feels natural, like a place your spirit has rested before. Even silence with them feels full, as if words are unnecessary because understanding already exists. When a connection is older than this lifetime, it carries depth. This person has seen you evolve through many versions, strong ones, broken ones, hopeful ones, lost ones. And you have seen them too, perhaps not consciously, but energetically. That's why you instinctively know how to comfort each other, why you recognize each other's pain without explanation, why you sense shifts in their energy before they speak. These bonds often come with powerful emotions because they are rooted in unfinished lessons. Life does not bring souls back together without reason. When someone returns to you again and again in different forms, different roles, different circumstances, because there is growth still required. There is wisdom still waiting to be unlocked through that connection. You may notice that no matter how much time passes, the bond does not weaken. Distance doesn't erase it. Conflict doesn't destroy it. Even separation doesn't end it. Instead, it transforms, deepens, matures. That is the mark of a soul connection that has lived many lifetimes. It adapts instead of disappearing. These relationships often challenge you because they are designed to. They don't exist to keep you comfortable. They exist to help you become who you are meant to be. This person reflects parts of you that others cannot see, both your light and your shadows. They trigger growth, self-awareness, and emotional truth. And while that can feel overwhelming, it is also deeply purposeful. There is a reason letting go feels impossible. It's not weakness, it's memory. Your soul remembers the value of this bond even when your mind is confused by it. You are not clinging to the past. You are honoring a connection that has helped shape who you are today. Some people come into your life to teach you a single lesson and leave. Others stay because they are part of your soul's long journey. They are witnesses to your becoming. They are reminders that love, connection, and purpose are not always new. Sometimes they are ancient. When you understand that some connections are older than this lifetime, you stop questioning their presence. You stop trying to label them or rush them. Instead, you respect them. You allow them to exist as they are, knowing that anything this enduring is not accidental. It is intentional, meaningful, and deeply sacred. Some of the most powerful connections in your life will never be the smoothest ones. They will challenge you, stretch you, and sometimes break open parts of you that you didn't even know existed. These bonds are not designed for comfort. They are designed for transformation. And that is why they often come with confusion, emotional intensity, and moments where walking away feels easier than staying. Meaningful bonds ask more of you. They require honesty, patience, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. When a connection is meant to change you, it will not allow you to remain the same person you were before it entered your life. It will confront your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, and your unresolved wounds. That discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that growth is happening. Easy relationships often stay on the surface. They feel pleasant, predictable, and safe, but they rarely force you to evolve. Meaningful ones, on the other hand, dive deep. They expose your emotional layers. They show you where you still need healing. They mirror back the parts of yourself you have ignored or avoided. That is why these bonds can feel heavy at times, because they are carrying lessons meant to shape your soul. You may wonder why, if a connection is so meaningful, it comes with so much struggle. The answer is simple: depth requires effort. Anything that truly matters will demand your attention and your presence. These bonds teach you resilience, compassion, and emotional intelligence. They teach you how to communicate when silence feels safer. They teach you how to stay grounded when emotions run high. Not every challenge within a bond is meant to push you away. Some challenges are invitations to rise higher. They ask you to respond differently, to love more consciously, to listen more deeply. They ask you to break cycles that no longer serve you. Through these struggles, you learn who you are and who you are becoming. Meaningful bonds also teach you responsibility, not for fixing someone else, but for understanding your role in the dynamic. They force you to recognize your triggers and your patterns. They show you where you hold on too tightly and where you shut down too quickly. In this way, the relationship becomes a mirror reflecting both your strengths and your blind spots. It is important to understand that difficulty does not equal damage. Some bonds are challenging because they are alive, growing, and evolving. They require adjustment and awareness. They are not static. They change as you change. And while that can feel unsettling, it is also deeply enriching. When you stop expecting meaningful bonds to be easy, you stop resenting them for their challenges. Instead, you begin to appreciate their purpose. You see the value in the lessons they bring. You recognize that the struggle is not meant to punish you, but to prepare you for a deeper level of understanding and connection. Not all bonds are meant to last for in the same form, but every meaningful bond leaves a permanent imprint. It shapes your emotional intelligence. It expands your capacity to love. It deepens your self-awareness. And even if the path is difficult, the wisdom gained is invaluable. In the end, meaningful bonds are not measured by how easy they are, but by how deeply they transform you. They are meant to challenge you, refine you, and ultimately help you become more fully yourself. There are encounters in life that feel ordinary on the surface, yet carry extraordinary weight beneath them. You meet countless people, exchange words, share moments, and then move on. But every so often, someone enters your life and shifts the atmosphere around you. The timing feels intentional. The connection feels immediate. And deep within, there is a quiet certainty that this meeting was arranged long before it ever happened. These souls arrive at pivotal moments. They show up when you are ready, even if you don't realize it yet. Sometimes they come when you are searching. Sometimes when you are healing, and sometimes when you are completely unprepared. But their arrival always aligns with an inner turning point. That is not chance. That is alignment. Accidental meetings are fleeting. Soul meetings linger. You keep thinking about the conversation, the energy, the feeling of being seen. Even when life pulls you in different directions, the connection remains active within you. It influences your decisions, your growth, and your understanding of yourself. That is how you know this meeting was purposeful. When you don't meet by accident, the connection often feels guided. Circumstances bend to make space for it. Paths cross in unexpected ways. Delays, detours, and even endings lead you back to each other. Life rearranges itself just enough to ensure that the lesson, the message, or the healing can be delivered. These souls recognize you too. There is mutual awareness, even if neither of you can explain it. Conversations flow effortlessly, or they cut straight to the truth without small talk. There is honesty without force. Vulnerability without demand. Something in both of you understands that this connection requires presence, not performance. Often, these meetings are meant to awaken something dormant within you. A forgotten dream, a buried strength, a truth you have been avoiding. This person may challenge your beliefs, disrupt your comfort zone, or reflect your potential back to you before you fully see it yourself. Their role is not to complete you, but to remind you of who you already are. Because these meetings are intentional, they are not always gentle. Growth rarely is. The soul does not arrange meetings for convenience. It arranges them for evolution. That is why these connections can feel intense, emotional, or even destabilizing at first. They are meant to shake you out of autopilot and invite you into awareness. You may notice that no matter how logical reasons suggest walking away, something deeper keeps you engaged. Not attachment, but recognition. Not fear, but purpose. Your inner world understands that this connection holds meaning beyond the present moment. When you accept that these souls are not accidents, you stop trying to control the outcome. You stop forcing labels, timelines, and expectations. Instead, you allow the connection to teach you what it came to teach. You listen more closely. You respond more consciously. You grow. Not every soul you meet is meant to stay forever, but every soul you don't meet by accident leaves you changed. They expand your awareness. They refine your values. They remind you that life is not random, it is responsive. In recognizing that you don't meet these souls by accident, you begin to trust the intelligence of your journey. You understand that every meaningful connection arrives with intention, purpose, and perfect timing. And once the lesson is complete, you carry its wisdom forward, knowing that nothing this profound ever happens by chance. For a long time, we have been taught that strength looks like release, that growth always means walking away, and that healing is proven by how quickly we let go. But there is a deeper truth that often goes unspoken. Sometimes the lesson is not in leaving, but in learning how to stay differently. Sometimes evolution does not require separation, it requires awareness. There are connections that persist not because you are stuck, but because the story is still unfolding. These bonds remain because they are still teaching you something essential about love, boundaries, patience, and self-respect. Letting go would be easier, but easy does not always equal right. Growth often asks for presence, not escape. Staying does not mean tolerating harm or losing yourself. True staying is conscious. It is choosing to remain engaged while continuing to evolve. It is recognizing that both people are changing and allowing the relationship to change as well. This kind of staying demands honesty, accountability, and emotional maturity. It requires you to confront patterns rather than repeat them. When staying is the lesson, life invites you to rewrite the dynamic, to respond where you once reacted, to speak where you once stayed silent, to set boundaries where you once abandoned yourself. In this way, the connection becomes a living classroom, offering real-time opportunities for growth. Many people mistake endurance for love. But evolving while staying is not about endurance. It is about transformation. It is about learning how to love without control, how to care without self-sacrifice, and how to remain connected without losing your individuality. This is advanced emotional work, and it cannot be learned in isolation. Staying also teaches you discernment. It helps you distinguish between what needs healing and what needs releasing. Not every challenge is a sign to walk away. Some are invitations to grow stronger together. The wisdom lies in knowing the difference. When two people commit to evolving, the relationship matures. Old wounds are acknowledged instead of ignored. Communication deepens. Trust is rebuilt in more honest ways. The bond becomes less about attachment and more about alignment. This is not the staying of fear, but the staying of intention. There is also humility in staying. It requires admitting that you don't have all the answers yet, that you are still learning, that growth is not linear, and neither is love. Staying allows space for grace, for mistakes, for repair. Society often celebrates the dramatic exit, but rarely honors the quiet courage it takes to stay and grow, to keep choosing awareness over ego, to remain open when it would be easier to close off, to believe in transformation when the process is uncomfortable. Letting go is powerful when it is necessary, but staying is powerful when it is conscious. Both are acts of self-respect when done with clarity. The mistake is assuming one is always superior to the other. When staying and evolving is the lesson, the connection stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a practice of presence, a practice of honesty, a practice of becoming better versions of yourselves. In the end, growth is not defined by whether you leave or stay. It is defined by who you become in the process. And sometimes the most profound transformation happens not when you let go, but when you stay and evolve together. There are connections that linger not because of attachment, habit, or fear, but because something within them is still alive, still moving, still becoming. When two souls refuse to release each other, it is often misunderstood as weakness or indecision. In truth, it can be a sign that transformation is actively unfolding beneath the surface. Transformation does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, slow, and almost invisible. It happens in subtle shifts, in new responses, in softened reactions, in deeper understanding. When a bond remains, it is often because both people are being reshaped by it, learning lessons that cannot be learned alone. These connections act as catalysts. They bring unresolved emotions to the surface so they can finally be seen and healed. They highlight patterns that have followed you for years. They invite you to confront truths about yourself that you may have avoided. This is not comfortable work, but it is necessary work. Growth requires friction, and these bonds provide it. When transformation is still happening, the connection keeps evolving. It does not remain stuck in the past. Old dynamics begin to fall away. New ways of relating emerge. There is more awareness, more intention, more emotional intelligence. What once felt chaotic starts to feel purposeful. Refusing to release each other does not mean refusing to grow. In fact, it often means the opposite. It means both souls are willing to stay present through discomfort, uncertainty, and change. It means they are open to becoming something new individually and together. These bonds teach patience. They teach timing. They remind you that not everything unfolds according to your plans. Some transformations require time, repetition, and reflection. Rushing the process can disrupt the lesson. Staying present allows it to complete. Transformation also asks for responsibility. You are not in this connection to fix each other, but to grow alongside each other. Each person must do their own inner work. When both are committed to self-awareness, the bond becomes a powerful space for healing rather than harm. You may notice that even during distance or silence, the connection continues to influence you. Thoughts arise, insights emerge, emotional shifts occur. This is a sign that the transformation is ongoing, even when you are not physically together. Eventually, transformation clarifies purpose. The connection either evolves into a deeper, healthier form, or it completes its lesson and releases naturally without force or bitterness. When transformation finishes its work, letting go becomes peaceful, not painful. Until then, the bond remains because it is still shaping you. It is refining your capacity for empathy, honesty, and love. It is teaching you how to remain open without losing yourself. When two souls refuse to release each other, it is not because they are holding on blindly. It is because something meaningful is still taking shape. Something within both of you is still becoming clearer, stronger, wiser. And when the transformation is complete, whatever form the connection takes next will feel aligned, grounded, and whole. Some connections cannot be explained by logic, timing, or circumstance because they exist beyond the limits of a single lifetime. When someone has walked many lifetimes with you, their presence is not something you simply release on command. It stays because it has meaning. It stays because it carries memory, growth, and purpose. Throughout this journey, you learn that not every bond is meant to be easy, and not every lesson requires letting go. Some relationships are designed to awaken you, to challenge you, and to help you evolve into a deeper version of yourself. They remain not to trap you, but to transform you. When two souls continue to find their way back to each other, it is a sign that the story is still being written. Healing is still happening. Awareness is still expanding. And both lives are still being shaped by the connection they share. The wisdom is not in forcing an ending, nor in clinging to the past, but in honoring the process. Trust that what stays has a reason, and what eventually leaves will do so gently once the lesson is complete. Until then, allow the connection to teach you, refine you, and remind you that some bonds are timeless, intentional, and deeply sacred.